When you buy a player on Sorare, how do you make sure you don't overpay massively, and how do you increase your chances of getting a bargain? Well, there is one platform that every single Sorare player must use. It is literally a must, but many beginners just don't know about this platform yet. So listen to me for the next few minutes. I'm going to show you Soraredata. No paid promo or anything. I just literally use this platform every single day, and you will have way more success with your own Sorare club if you do as well. Welcome to Soraredata. It's a third-party platform, so not by Sorare officially, but they're approved and supported by the official Sorare team, and they literally deliver you all kinds of stats that you will need for your Sorare journey, all price graphs, all history of sales, and all the scores, everything. And the platform is totally free. So first of all, what you do is go here to the very top right corner, log in, and there it does make sense to log in with your Sorare account. It takes you to your Sorare and you can easily authorize this. Really no worries, it's super legit. Now you see I have my Sorare account linked here, and there's a bunch of stuff that I can do. They really have so many features. For example, play, they have literal cups there where you can enter your Sorare cards and win additional rewards. That is not that important. You can check out all the scores, all the lineups, everything that you can also check out on Sorare, all the market stats, the market history, everything. But most importantly, I want to talk about the 3 features that I use Soraredata for the most, that help me personally the most. Number 1 is this search feature here on Soraredata in this search bar. So let's say we are on Sorare. We want to buy a certain player. I'm going to highly exaggerate and use an example that most of us will not be able to afford at the moment. Youssoufa Moukoko, one of the biggest German talents, playing for Dortmund. He just scored a goal last game against Gladbach, so his price drastically went up. And if you look at the Sorare market, then you will see it's only listed 3 times on the market, and the lowest price is 12,000 euros plus. You might think, okay, 3 times on the market, this is very expensive. But here, this should be the actual value of the card. I mean, lowest buy now price on FIFA, that is usually very fair. But on Sorare, there is a problem, especially for the rare cards and upwards rarities. There is not enough cards on the market to always have a fair lowest price. Sometimes, like here, there is only 3 cards listed and people just list their cards overpriced. It's not actually worth 12,000 euros. But if you didn't know about Soraredata and were just really rich and clueless, then you might be okay, 12,000 should be good. No. You go to Soraredata then, you look up Youssoufa Moukoko, and then you can find him, Youssoufa Moukoko, Borussia Dortmund, and then the magic begins. You see all the stats. I love this screen. It looks like a ton of features and buttons here. I'm going to explain most of these to you later, but for now we're focusing on the price of Moukoko, and here we can see for the rare cards, there is 17 rare cards. The 2 weeks average price is what Soraredata shows you, and that is 4,266 euros. And you also see the floor price here. That's the lowest current offer. We saw that earlier on Sorare, that 12,000 euros, and we see that is highly exaggerated, 3 times as much as the actual value of the card. Then you can also go here in the bottom area and you see all recent sales. This is the limited card. We can switch to rare here though. Here we see the rarities. This is the rare, and this is just the sales in the last month. We can put that on 6 months if you will, and there we see all the sales of Youssoufa Moukoko in the past 6 months, and we see the latest sale was 4,683 euros. So if you always check these latest sales, that gives you the best overview of the fair price and value of a card. Always make sure you do that. Never just buy a player of Sorare. You should always negotiate anyway. If you haven't seen my 7 beginner mistakes to avoid when starting Sorare, then check out this one. As one of the 7, I also mentioned not using Soraredata. Now we're talking about the platform specifically because many of you wanted that. And again, always make sure you check those recent sales. If I wanted to buy the limited, for example, lowest price is 787. If I check limited here, we see he rose a ton, but the latest sale here is from today actually, when I'm recording this video, 652 euros. So don't be stupid and pay 787. Go and offer the lads 650 euros. That just always gives you a great indication. You can also use this as an argument when you're negotiating with a seller in direct message. If, for example, he told you, okay, I want 750 for this card at least, you can then go there and be like, okay, man, this is too much. I'm sorry. As the latest sale was only 650. I'm going to give you that. So always very important to look up the players and know this. By the way, though, as always, look it up in Ethereum if you want to negotiate. People are not going to say, I want 750 euros. They're going to say, I want 0.28. I don't know how much that is in Ethereum, but they're going to tell you the Ethereum number. And with Soraredata, because you can always switch here, it's very easy to get into this Ethereum thing and start building an understanding of what the values are in Ethereum. Okay, then I'm going to switch back to the left here for point number 2, which is in my opinion the most useful feature on the whole of Soraredata, and that is not on Play, not on SO5, not on Market, but on Scout. You go to Scout, and there you have a bunch of different features as well for when you want to find certain players that fit your criteria. If I look to upgrade certain parts of my team, what I always do is I go not to Card Finder, but to Player Finder, and then you see this screen right here. Find the player that you need. This probably looks very overwhelming at first glance as well, but it's actually not that complicated. You can see it that way. Here you can filter by position, by club, by league, by playing status, starter, substitute. If he has an injury, the age of the player. Here you can literally filter filter through any characteristics of the player himself. Then below that, you can turn this button on and say, okay, I want to search for a player that has a game during game week 248, which is February 25th to 1st of March. So maybe you still need a player for your team on that weekend, and then you can put that on. That is very useful as well in some cases. And below that, then you can really filter for how does the player score, how well has the player been scoring in the last 15 games, in the last 40 games, in the last 5 games. You see the all-round score, you see the decisive score, but most important is the SO5 score. That is the overall score of a player per game. And then below that, you can also filter through how many percent of the last 5 games has the player started, and then also for the last 15, 40. That is very useful as well. And at the very bottom, then you can search for the price. You can say, okay, I want the limited card of the player, and I only have 0.1 Ethereum, so the best market price right now shouldn't be above that here, and the average price should also be that. That's also why you should learn about Ethereum. It's always used on Sorare here as well. This number is not euros, dollars, pounds. This is Ethereum. And 0.1 Ethereum is like 230, 240 euros at this point. And when building your teams or looking for certain type of players that you want for your teams, that you might want for trading, whatever, this tool is so powerful. You won't believe it. Let's scout for a player. I'm going to show you an example. I don't need a goalie, not a defender, not a midfielder. I need a forward. I need a forward from Champion Europe. That means from the top 5 leagues in Europe. I turn off that all leagues. That is always initially turned on. I put Champion Europe, so forward from the top 5 leagues. Not that old, like maximum 28 years, I'm gonna say. Let's say I need him in my team for next weekend, so I'm looking for someone here, turn that on, who has a game in game week 248. Then the scores, I want someone who has been performing very, very well over the past 40, but now his form is a little bit worse, so maybe I could pick him up for cheap. And we say, okay, we want a player that scored minimum 60 points over the last 40 games, put 60 here. But over the past 15, let's say maximum 60 points. And over the past 5, also maximum 60 points. So he's still great, but he was better before. And that might be a reason for his price dropping. Then we might want someone who has played at least 80% of the last 15 games. Then we want a limited card, and our budget might be, I don't know, 0.2 Ethereum, and we're looking for a player within that price range. Now we hit search, and there shouldn't actually be so many players popping up. There is exactly one. And what a surprise! It is my favorite player, Paulo Dybala. Definitely not intended at this point. And then we can see here very nicely, last 5 games, he had an average of 55 points, last 15, 58, and last 40, 62 even. He does have a game next weekend against Empoli for Juventus, even though he is kind of injured right now. I don't know if he will play, but that doesn't matter. We see the average and current prices here of all rarities. We can also click on him though for more details. I'm gonna actually show you everything that I would do if I wanted to buy Paulo Dybala right now. First of all, average price 3 days, 367 euros. It is around 0.153 Ethereum. The cheapest offer on the market is not much higher than that actually. That's very, very fair for the average price. The average scores here, we've already checked that. We can also check the SO5 scores here. Then it shows us every single score of the player in history on Sorare, and we see that here, the last game, only 40 points. He only played 53 minutes. He was subbed off due to injury. But usually, every time we see this DNP here, that means did not play, obviously. Well, that's when Dybala got minor injuries and couldn't play. And we see, to be quite honest with you, he's a fairly inconsistent player. Every like 5-6 games, he gets those 2, 3, 4 games where he has a minor injury. If he was more consistent and played 100% of the games, then he would easily be double the price here. I love him still, though, and I see that when he's in form, I know he's great, and Sorare proves that with the scores. He often gets those green scores, 60, 70 plus. And when I saw he got subbed off due to injury, I thought, okay, might be good to pick him up. But the price graph here has to prove that. We see limited card. We go to Ethereum. That is always more accurate to check the player's prices. Let's say 3 months. We see he has risen quite nicely here in the last weeks because he just picked up form and didn't pick up an injury for a while. He was on 0.185 Ethereum even, very, very high. And then bam, he's down to, as we see, 0.15. One guy even got him for 0.144. I actually wanted to buy him right in this video for this amount and show you that. Now we were too slow, but now you know what I always do before buying a player. I go to Scout and use the player finder feature. Then I set all my filters for the player that I'm looking for, the type of player that I'm looking for. And if I find interesting players, I do this in-depth analysis of price graph recently, of the scores. You can even look up similar players. If you say, okay, the player is not at a good price for me right now or doesn't fit for my team, you can see, okay, these guys are actually similar. Maybe you find something for your team here. And when you go to stacks here, it also shows you other Juventus players that fit well with Dybala if you want to build a full Juventus team, for example. Also very useful, as many people actually do play full stacks of one single club. I also do that sometimes. There's so many options when using Soraredata. It's a must use, as simple as that. And now let me still show you my favorite Soraredata feature number 3 that I use on the daily basis. And for that, you go not to play, not to SO5, not to market, not to scout either. You go to Fiago. Well, in your case, it should be your name. Then you get a bunch of features as well. And I always check my gallery. This is so powerful, literally. Here you will see all your players, your total club valuation based on the average Soraredata prices. So you will see how much your club is worth in Ethereum and also in euros currently. And it's quite fun here because my head is cut off and this can literally be my head. Okay, this is not funny. Back to business. Why is that powerful? Not only because you can check your total club value on the daily basis. That is nice and very great to keep track of your progress. I use this number every time for my club value when I fill out my Sorare sheet that you mostly see at the end of Sorare videos. Some of you have been asking me, how do you know your club value? And this is how. But what is the most powerful in my opinion is this right here, roster prices. This shows you a ranking of every single of your club's players in price, and it is so powerful as you can literally filter highest to lowest last week variation or highest to lowest yesterday variation. If I put this here, last week, Soraredata is going to show me the players in my club that have risen the most in value over the last week. And this is so useful because the more players you have, it will be more difficult to keep track with every single of your players' prices. This guy, a 19-year-old defender from Fenerbahce, I got him for free as a referral reward some weeks ago. And he was always like 6-7 euros. Yeah, but suddenly this weekend, bam, he's now at like 25 euros. Or you can see it here, the current floor price 23 euros. And that is because as of 5 scores, he played his first professional game for the team. And obviously, hype grows, everyone wants to buy him, the price rises. And now for me, when a player is in such hype and rises so much drastically suddenly, it's time to sell him. But without this Soraredata feature, I would have never known that. Because I don't watch Fenerbahce actively and I wouldn't have known that he played and rose so much in price. So that's why every morning I check, okay, which of my players rose drastically. And if I see that someone rose 100% doubled in value overnight, that can happen on Sorare, then usually I say arrivederci, goodbye, it was a nice time with you, but I'm going to take the profits. That's why I think this feature is, it is super, super crucial. You can obviously also do that the other way around. Which of my players dropped drastically in price, and these guys, sadly, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to sell them right now because they really dropped. So in a nutshell, if you play Sorare, do yourself a favor and also use Soraredata. You will save yourself time, money, and pain in the ass. Again, no paid promotion whatsoever. Soraredata don't have a clue who I am, probably. I really just wanted to show you this to give you value and to help you on your Sorare journey, and I hope it could help you out. If you haven't started Sorare yet but want to, then feel free to use my link in the description. It's going to give you a free limited card once you've bought 5 from the new auctions market. We're going to see each other in the next video. Sorare Fiago, Soraredata Fiago is out. Peace.